We continue on Spartans Pregame here on the Westmoreland Sports Network as Hempfield gets set to take on Seneca Valley. I'm Dan Flickinger, and right now I'm being joined by the head coach of the Hempfield area Spartans, Rich Bowen. And, Coach, good to talk to you again. And we take a look at last week's game, a big win always. Anytime you can get a win over Norwich, you guys did it by a 28-14 victory last week. Just your impressions of your season-opening victory over the Knights.
Well, I thought with the most impressive thing, obviously, we love to beat Norwich as a local rival. It's always good to do that. It's always good to start 1-0. But, we felt coming in, the team that made the least amount of mistakes, didn't turn the ball over, could play solid special teams, eliminate penalties, those kind of things. Because the first game of the year in a bizarre year, not really being with the team for that long. And I think we ended up that game with just one turnover and 2 penalties. So I think that really helped out. And I thought we played solid special teams, which is always a scare of that first game. And, our kids played hard. They played well. They played smart. And I thought that was the difference. I thought we were in pretty decent shape. I thought at the end of the game we were able to put 2 drives together in the fourth quarter, which was a very good sign for us.
Coach, you've always had some really good quarterbacks since you've been at Hempfield. Christian Zilli comes back out after missing his sophomore and junior seasons to take over for Blake Romali behind center. What were your impressions of his performance against Norwich last week?
I'll tell you what, for being out for 2 years and basically sort of missing his entire freshman year with an injury, really not playing football for 3 years, I thought he managed the game well. I thought he made some big-time throws to Roman Pellis down the sideline on some big, huge gains. I think he took what was given him on the short and intermediate pass game. He ran the ball tremendously well in the second half. I think he ended up with 144 yards passing and 86 yards rushing. And what's good about Christian is he manages the game so well. I mean, he knows down and distance where he needs to go with the ball. He's a smart player. And then he was able to get, like I said, some great throws down the sideline to Roman Pellis. And we thought Jake Phillips came in. We're giving our young sophomore quarterback some series every game. And we thought he played well. And, we're just trying to get him ready for next year. So I think we got a really good 1-2 quarterback punch.
Well, you talked about Roman Pellis, Coach. I have to ask you about the catch that he made, a little highlight reel grab. The guys on the broadcast said, I think that was the only way he could have made that catch was with one hand, and he made it look pretty easy.
Well, you know what? The funny thing about that is he drives me crazy in practice because he's been doing that since his sophomore year. He'll stick that one hand out, usually the left hand, and he'll make a tremendous catch in practice. But he does drop some of them, and we're screaming at him, hey, 2 hands, 2 hands. And then, I think that was the only way he could have caught that ball because I think it was slightly overthrown. And by just sticking that left arm out, he got a couple extra inches on it and made a tremendous catch. So, from now on, I don't think I'm going to yell at him in practice anymore. But just let him do it and live with it.
Yeah, it's like if you're going to do that, you better make sure you catch it because if you don't, we're going to get on you. Yeah.
We're going to get on you. But he made the catch, so I'm shutting up from now on.
Coach, we asked you about Christian Zilli here. Metrius Murphy, his first game at middle linebacker. How do you think he played against Norwich?
Well, you know what? The funny part about that is Demetrius was playing outside linebacker for us all summer since we were been allowed to get together. And then we had a season-ending injury to Anthony Villano, which really cost. I mean, he was a good young sophomore, was going to be a tremendous football player, but we lost him for the year. So Demetrius had like 2 practices as an inside linebacker in his whole career. And I think he went out there and had 11 tackles, a couple sacks, and you could see his closing speed when he goes after somebody. He has good closing speed. So I thought he played tremendous. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better. Now he's had a couple more practices under his belt, but we did send him a lot. We blitzed him a lot, and, he did a great job on that. So hats off to him because just to have 1 or 2 practices, I thought he did a great job.
Mario Perkins also had a solid game against the Knights. Yeah. How much did you miss him last year, huh?
Oh, we missed him. I mean, if you saw us early in the year last year when we had Mario at tailback and Nathan Roby in the slot and Roby playing some tailback, we were a pretty dynamic offense. And then when we lost him I think that was like week 2 we lost him. And it just took us a couple weeks to figure out the dynamics of the team after that because once you work on something all spring and summer and you have that mindset of what you're going to be and then you lose a star player like Mario for the season, you really have to readjust and kids have to move to different positions. So it did hurt us. But, he had the kind of game that we really expected him to have. I think he averaged about 6.5 yards a carry and caught 7 passes for 52 yards. And, he did a solid job on offense, but he's also key to our defense playing outside linebacker. I thought he played really well there, too.
Rich, you've been coaching for a long time, and I know this is unprecedented times. We've never went through something like this before. Not many fans in the stands last week.
Yeah.
It'll be the same thing tonight. What kind of, challenges was that for your team, and was there much of an adjustment that had to be made, to get used to that early on in that game?
No, I don't think so. The emotion of Friday night football, playing a rival, I think our kids were excited to play if there was 2,000 fans in the stands or 0 like it was. I think it was a little quiet at first. I think both teams came out a little tentative to start because it was a weird atmosphere. But I will tell you this, I just think both teams and every team in the state of Pennsylvania is just glad to be playing high school football. I think they were thrilled to be out there. I think it maybe took a couple series to get adjusted to no bands, no crowd or anything. But after that, it was just high school football. And I just think we're all thankful we were given the opportunity to play. And, like I said, I think they would have played in front of nobody, which they did, or 1,000 people. It doesn't matter. They're just glad to be playing.
Baldwin has become the newest team to unfortunately have COVID concerns as an assistant coach has apparently tested positive. Again, just kind of talk a little bit about what you guys at Hempfield have been doing to make sure. And I know sometimes you take all the precautions in the world and things do happen, but what are you guys doing at Hempfield to try to make sure that you're able to still play football every week?
Well, I tell you what, I think since this happened in early June when we start putting our plans together and writing all the policies we had to follow, and then with Brandon Rapp coming on board in early July and setting the tone for the athletic department. And I think every coach, not only in football, but in all the sports we have, has done a tremendous job in everything we have to do, taking temperatures before every practice, coming in shifts, making sure we're not all together in the locker room. It's just really, I think the first hour of our day is just trying to manage how we're going to start practice, because we got all this check-in time. And I think our kids have adapted tremendously well. I mean, they know the routine. They know to come in, get your temperature taken, report into the locker room, get dressed, go see the trainer, get out on the field. It's a lot to manage. And, I hope this ends pretty soon, because it cuts into your practice. You got to really manage your time, because every day is about an hour worth of your first part of practice is just managing all the COVID stuff we have to do. And that's okay, because I think our staff and our administration, everybody has a great plan in place, and we follow it. The kids have been great. And knock on wood, we've been free from any COVID, and I hope that continues. You just feel bad for a team like Baldwin. You could do all these precautions, you can do everything you want, you still might contract it. Mm-hmm. And we're just thankful to be playing, and hopefully we get all of our 7 games in. But we know at any time this can be shut down, so we've been very careful in what we've been doing.
Yeah, looking at 6A, of course, it happened to Mount Lebanon and their first week, and it's also happened at Seneca Valley. They did not play last week, Coach, but they do play this week against the Hempfield Spartans at Spartan Stadium. Do you view that as an advantage, and maybe you'd like to get an early start here on Seneca Valley, considering you guys have played a game already and they haven't?
Sure. Yeah, sure. I'm sure it's an advantage. I'm sure they have some advantages with it, too. I mean, we at least have a scrimmage and a game in. So we feel like we've gotten some of those things ironed out that you need to get ironed out in that first game, and all those kind of things. So I'm sure that's an advantage for us. But they're probably coming in almost totally healthy, not banged up at all. Mm-hmm. I'm sure they're eager to play an opposing team, because they've probably just been hitting on each other for the last month. So I'm sure they're anxious to see a different colored jersey. So I think it plays for them a little bit too. But we feel comfortable where we're at, because we have the game experience under our belt. But we know Seneca Valley year in and year out is one of the top teams in the WPIAL. I mean, they have a great program going there, and they have some great players. So we expect them to be ready to go. But hopefully it is an advantage for us, and we're going to use it that way. We're telling the kids it's that, and we feel it is an advantage for us. But again, we didn't have any film on Seneca Valley this year yet. Right. So, and how we are as coaches, we at least like to get a peek of what we're going to be up against. So, It's the same coaching staff, so we're figuring they're probably doing some things almost the same as the last couple of years we've played them. But you never know. A different year, different team. They could have changed a little bit, but that's okay. I mean, our kids are adaptable. We'll adapt to whatever we see tonight.
Well, when you look back at their team last year, Coach, I mean, what do you expect from them here tonight?
Well, you know what? They were a very good football team. The year before, they had played for a Whitfield championship. They had a lot of those kids back last year. They dominated us last year. I mean, that might have been, that's a team that really beat us up last year. And for them, they ended up 4-7. That just tells you how good 6A football is.
No kidding.
You cannot never count on anything. But they were a good football team. They beat us, I think, 40-14 last year. And what they did to us last year is they were just able to pound the ball on us.
Well, Coach, it's another week where you get to play football tonight. Good luck. That is head coach Rich Bowen of the Hempfield area Spartans. Dave Floyd and Zach Ziegler will be back with you here in just a couple of moments as we continue to count you down to kickoff. It is Hempfield. It is Seneca Valley right here on the Westmoreland Sports Network.